Howdy. Yeehaw. Giddy up. Let's do this thing. Let's talk about how to be more confident and comfortable being on camera and talking to the camera. Now, we all know that talking in front of people, public speaking, is something that is very difficult for most people. There's a statistic that shows that about 77% of people have anxiety related to public speaking. And so naturally, this bleeds over into talking in front of a camera. Even if there's nobody else in the room, there's still a level of nervousness and anxiety that comes along with talking to a camera. And most of the fears surrounding public speaking, talking to a camera, all kind of stem from that fear of rejection, of feeling like you're doing something wrong, of people judging you, of putting yourself out there and being rejected. All of these things go into public speaking or speaking to a camera. For those of you that may not know me, I'm actually an introvert. So anxiety related to public speaking and talking to a camera is definitely something that I can relate to. I've been a filmmaker for over 5 years now, and at the beginning of my journey, I hated being in front of the camera. I thought I'll just always be one of those people that's always behind the camera. I like to film other people. I hate being in front of the camera, and never really thought that I would end up being someone that's in front of the camera. But through lots of practice and just doing it over and over and over, I've actually gotten more comfortable being on camera and talking directly to the camera. But I wouldn't say that it's something that comes naturally for me, and I don't think it comes naturally for most people, even if you're an extrovert. There are still so many struggles and anxieties and being nervous and things that come along with trying to present something and trying to talk to a camera. But this video should just prove I'm an introvert and I can be on camera and talk to the camera, so if I can do it, then you can totally do it too. So let's talk about 3 tips to help you be more confident and comfortable talking to the camera and being on camera. Okay, tip number 1 is don't be yourself. So let me explain that one. I'm definitely not saying to be fake or try to create a personality to be on camera. But you're saying, like, I just contradicted myself. I said not to be yourself, but then I'm saying not to be fake. So here's what I'm actually saying. Being on camera tends to give like your personality and your delivery a different feel. I would say it's a little bit to quite a bit different than talking to somebody in person. The camera doesn't respond back to me. If it did, that would be weird. It doesn't blink at me. It doesn't nod. I don't get any signals to know if I'm conveying the information in a way that works. So yes, it's very different from talking to a person. So that means when you are talking to a camera, you have to think about who will see the video and how they will receive the information. This means that you should try your very best to convey the information in the best way possible, without having all of those feedback cues to know if you're making an impact. So when I'm saying don't be yourself, I'm actually saying be yourself. You should be genuine on camera, but be the best version of yourself. Be the prepared you. Be the energetic and ready to go you. Be the positive version of you. Now again, I'm not saying be completely fake, but I am saying think of this as a presentation. You wouldn't get a presentation ready and just kind of halfway do it and go up there and just kind of slouch and give your presentation and just be kind of half good at it. No, you would prepare your presentation, you would get up there and you would present your best self during that presentation. So think of filming yourself on camera as being the best version of yourself. And I'm not saying that there's not times for vulnerability. There are not times where you can make videos where it's real and genuine and you're not feeling your best self that day and you're struggling with something and you show that on camera and you display that. I'm not saying that. Be yourself, be vulnerable, but also be your best self. When you're making videos, it's difficult. Like I was saying before, there's no responses. I'm having to engage in a way that I know people are going to watch this video, so I'm going to try to connect through the camera to who's going to see this video later and focus on I'm trying to impact someone. So the whole time that I'm filming and I'm pushing myself to talk to the camera, I'm trying to make sure that I have the impact in mind. I'm doing this for a reason. Whatever that reason is, I need to keep that in the forefront and be my best self on camera to make the impact that I'm wanting to make. And there are so many obstacles to overcome for this tip number 1, for being yourself on camera or not being yourself on camera. I have filmed so many people throughout my career of doing filmmaking, and I've seen so many different responses for different people to being on camera. Some people, they're more extroverted and they think, oh, I can totally be on camera. I would absolutely love to. And then they get in front of the camera and it's just word salad and it's all over the place and they're talking, but it's not very concise and it's not very like structured. We have to do a lot of takes because they rabbit trailed or they went off into this. Then there are other people that, you know, they're like, all right, I have something prepared. Like, I'm not comfortable doing this, but I prepared, so I feel like I'm ready. They get in front of the camera, they freeze. It's like once the little red light comes on, they look into the camera and it's just like, everything leaves. It's just empty space up there. There's like nothing for them to pull from. Some people get super fidgety. They get on camera and they're a leaner and they're a pacer, or they'll do the tiptoe thing where they're doing this the whole video. People handle the anxiety of being on camera in so many different ways. So there are so many obstacles to overcoming the fear of being on camera, and especially to get to a point where you are genuinely you. When I started out doing this, I would like sweat like really bad doing the videos. I mean, I sweat now, but it's usually because I turned my air conditioner off because it's really loud in the mic and it blows straight where I sit. So that's kind of for a totally different reason. Not to say that I'm not nervous when I get on camera now, I still am. But when I first started, it was super bad. So I had to overcome the fear of talking to the camera, and I also had to learn how to genuinely be myself on camera and be the best version of myself. And by best version, again, I'm not saying you have to be perfect. You don't have to say all your words correctly all the time, and you don't have to be perfect, but I'm just saying to be you and to present in the best way that you can. There are some days where I have to push myself to make a video. I don't feel like it. It's gonna take up too much time. I'm just not in the mood. But sometimes you have to push yourself to be like, okay, I'm gonna be the energetic me just for a little bit, and I'm gonna push myself to impact somebody positively and make this video that I think is gonna help someone. And then there's the fear of, well, if I'm truly myself on camera and I'm completely genuine, people are not gonna like me. People are gonna have negative comments. They're gonna think I'm weird. They're gonna think I'm corny or nerdy. There are all of these other internal insecurities that you have to overcome when you're putting yourself out there, because you're putting yourself out there into the world. People are obviously gonna have opinions about it, and about you, and about your content, and about the way your voice sounds, and about the way you look. So coming from someone who is an introvert, there are definitely obstacles and barriers to entry when it comes to learning to talk to a camera and to be confident and comfortable about it. And the first one is just simply, don't be yourself. Be yourself. Being comfortable being on camera. Being comfortable being funny and witty and whatever your personality is, letting that shine through in the video. And this definitely doesn't happen overnight. This takes time. This takes lots of putting in the work, getting in front of the camera, filming a video. Then the next time you film, doing it again, pushing yourself, filming another video. And the more and more that you do this, the more comfortable and confident you will be being yourself on camera. And that's what people really want. People want to know the real you. People don't want another fake personality. They don't want someone that's just faking it, trying to be an influencer, trying to be someone that is seeking attention or trying to put themselves out there just for fame or for recognition. People are looking for something genuine. They want to know the real you. They want to know your personality. And so just be you. And I promise it's a lot easier just to be yourself on camera than to try to force up some other face or persona or personality that you're trying to be. So tip number 1, don't be yourself. Now let's talk about tip number 2. Tip number 2 is don't look at the camera. They're probably like, man, these tips clicking off the video. Okay, but really, tip number 2, don't look at the camera. So let's talk about this one. Like point number 1, we talked about how you need to think of the camera and think of the people that are going to be watching it. So that means that you kind of need to treat the camera like a person. So there's a couple of things that you wouldn't do if you were talking to a person, or I should say like you shouldn't do. So take notes for this in your real life too. Not that you're talking to a camera as a fake life, but just like in person, like you get what I'm saying. One thing that you shouldn't do is to stare at the camera and don't look anywhere else. I'm not looking anywhere else. I'm barely blinking, and this should be getting awkward at this point because I'm just very locked in. And even the less that I use my hands, it's even more awkward. And I'm not looking anywhere else. I literally am just staring straight at you. Don't do that. But also, don't look everywhere but the camera, because then it's like kind of really awkward if you're not actually kind of making like eye contact, because I'm never actually looking at the camera. I'm just kind of looking everywhere but the camera, and I'm even like right below the camera, and I'm kind of looking like above the camera. Don't do that either. Try to come up with a way to have a healthy amount of eye contact with the camera, just like you would if you were talking to somebody in person. Sometimes you'll kind of glance away, you'll blink, if you're thinking about something, then you'll come back to it. This feels a lot more natural. This feels like we were actually in person and I'm talking to you. And this is something that just takes a lot of practice and being comfortable with what you're going to say. Now, this is different if you're someone that uses a teleprompter. In all of my 5+ years of doing filmmaking, I've never used a teleprompter. I've never had anyone that I was filming use one. So that's not something that I'm as familiar with. But I will say that there are a lot of times I can pinpoint when someone uses a teleprompter, because that goes, on the camera and the words scroll across. And so it tends to be that their eyes will track across and read the words. And so if you do use a teleprompter, make sure that you practice enough to where that becomes natural and you can read the words without anyone being able to tell that you're reading a script. But in general, the best practice is to film yourself enough that you can become comfortable talking, using your hands just like you would in person. Make it engaging. A lot of times the more that you have facial expressions and the more that you kind of gesture, I'm not saying like be all like, woo-doo, but just like you would in a normal conversation. If you're a hand talker, I'm obviously a hand talker. I use them all the time to demonstrate and to talk about things. Then use your hands on camera. Get comfortable with being expressive and conveying the message, because you're having to talk to an inanimate object that gives you no responses. So get used to making a healthy amount of eye contact. Don't, stare into their soul. Don't look away too much. Healthy dose of eye contact. And that's tip number 2. Don't look at the camera. Now, we're going to move on to tip number 3. But first, let's get some dramatic lighting because tip number 3 is intense. All right, are you guys ready for tip number 3? Let's zoom this in some. You guys ready? This is very serious, okay? Tip number 3, don't mess up. Hello, just kidding. I mean, that is my tip number 3, but it's not like what it means, just like all of the other tips. Okay, let's get some happier lighting and let's talk about it. Now, let's talk about this. So, tip number 3, don't mess up. What I'm really saying on this last point is give yourself some grace. Allow room for mistakes to be made. You're not perfect. No one is perfect, especially trying to convey something on camera. It's not really like it is in person where you can continue the conversation and continue to re-explain your point. On camera, you kind of have that one chance, that one final edited video that's going to attempt to make the connection with someone. And then you have to wait for the response and then make another video in response to that last video and how people received it. So when you're filming yourself on camera, give yourself room to make mistakes, to mess up, to redo it, to refilm it. All of this takes practice, and the more you do it, the better you will become at it. And it's easy to become frustrated during that whole process and think, well, I'm never going to be able to do this. It takes me hours just to get a simple point across because I have to keep redoing it over and over. But don't give up. Push through, continue to practice, watch your videos back, see how you translate on camera. Look at some things that you could change, that you could do better. Always look to improve. Well, how could I be a little bit more energetic this next video? Or how could I convey the point in a better way? And continue to improve, but then also step back and realize like, hey, I did my best. The video's out there, I did the best that I could, I put my whole heart into it, I was myself, I prepared for it, and then you just have to move on and make the next video. There are going to be little mistakes throughout your entire journey, but just learn from those mistakes, allow them to happen, and allow everything to not have to be perfect. You want it to be prepared, you want it to be the best that it can be, but it doesn't necessarily always have to be perfect. And that just kind of goes back to being real and being genuine. People are wanting to see real and genuine, not necessarily perfection, and people are not necessarily wanting to see a movie if they're looking to watch your content. They're wanting to see you and they're wanting to see real life. So that means that there are going to be those human elements that are totally fine to have come through in your content, such as mess ups or mistakes or reality, and that's okay. And I know that this is definitely a difficult concept. Coming from someone who's an introvert, I'm also very hard on myself, and I'm someone that likes everything I do to be 100% every single time. I want to know that I put all of myself into it and that I did the very best that I could and that it turned out great. So I'm very hard on myself when things go awry, when things, I might mess up, make mistakes on things. I take it very personal. I get very frustrated. Man, I can never do anything right. All of the negative emotions that come along with that. I'm sure some of you can relate. So yes, there are a lot of videos where I get them together, I put them out, I try to film them, and I'm like almost every single time, like, oh, I could have done this better, or I could have done my lighting a little bit better, or I could have said this different, or I could have not looked like that when I said that. I could have prepared more, I could have wrote some more notes down, I shouldn't have winged that one, and etc. I'm sure you guys have had some of these same thoughts. But it's all about the way you handle them. The way to correctly handle them is to, okay, might have messed up on this one, I could do this better, but let's keep pushing. Get your videos to, 80%. These are great videos. Don't stress as much over the little bitty details and keep putting out content, because you're going to grow and you're going to get better the more videos that you put out. And honestly, most people won't even notice those little bitty things that you're like, oh, I need to spend hours fixing or tweaking this. The majority of people are not even going to realize that. So save yourself all of that time. Go ahead and get the video out there. Allow yourself space and room to make mistakes, to grow, and to learn. And if you do all of these things, you will eventually become more comfortable and more confident being on camera and talking to the camera. And that was the final and third tip. Tip number 3. What my hands are doing. And that was the third and final tip. Don't mess up. And that was 3 tips to hopefully help you become more confident and comfortable being on camera and talking to the camera. This has been a long journey for me. It's taken me a long time as an introvert and as someone who is very nervous in front of the camera to be and to become more comfortable on camera. So hopefully these tips help you just like they helped me. There are so many more tips. There was so much more that I could have said, wanted to say. So let me know in the comments if you would like me to make a part 2 for this video. And if you enjoyed this video, if you found some value, be sure to check out some of the other videos on my channel.